All right, good morning, boys. Sorry for the late start. Get going here. All right. U.S. Managed to make a decent little rally after we missed non-farm payrolls on Friday. The week was just a huge build-up in terms of really important market data, really important events from some of the Fed speak, going for a period of 4 or 5 days up to the non-farm payroll number, and I guess non-farm payroll number was kind of the climax of that number, supposed to be the climax of the number. Ended up being a bit of a miss. Markets managed to rally nonetheless. And unfortunately, I think it puts just a hint of confusion into the data. The data was so consistent going into Friday's numbers, and the non-farm payroll numbers a bit weak, and you saw, Treasury yields back off a little bit, along with a couple other asset classes. But the S&P managed to claw back its way into green territory and close at another all-time high. I think just really important and realizing what point of the cycle of the market that we're actually in right now, which is just an incredibly positive bull run at the moment. Japan was a bit of a mixed session, or sorry, Asia was a bit of a mixed session, with Japan kind of being the leader to the downside. We saw a little bit of yen strength, I guess, into some of the dollar weakness after the non-farm payroll number on Friday. Chinese non-manufacturing PMI rose for the first time since March. It gave stocks a little bit of a bid in Shanghai, but nothing too significant. So very little happening on that side of the water as well. Then we had Berkshire Hathaway that came out on Friday after hours. They were better on the EPS number and better on the net income number, so a nice little beat there. And then we've got HSBC, which is out this morning. We had Anglo's price target was raised at Citi to raised to 15 pounds versus 14 pounds, and that was at Citigroup. I think that roughly works out to around 225 rand a share at this current rand pound price. And then we had the big news in the morning, I would say, would be the Able operational update. We had advances were up 19%, increase in non-performing loans as a percentage of advances were up 30.2% from 29.2%. It continues to be just shocking. They are doing a rights issue through Goldman Sachs to raise up to 4 billion rand. Their outlook, they're saying they're expecting lower earnings in the second half of 2013, and the environment is challenging and unpredictable. So I don't think that that's really going to do a whole lot for the Able bulls out there. And we've got, like I said earlier, we had non-manufacturing PMIs out of China, which were a bit of a beat. We have retail sales out of Australia, which were a miss. We had HSBC market services PMI number that came in line in China. Then we've got lots of PMI numbers across the entire European region today, which I would say the two to focus on will probably be Germany and the ECB number, as well as the UK, I guess. And then we've got non-manufacturing composite in the States at 4. So not a huge day of data, nothing compared to last week, but I do believe there's some Fed members that are speaking again this week also. All right, let's jump into the maps. Okay, the first thing I want to show is BHP. BHP, if you look on the longer term trend line, which we looked at not too long ago, you can see here on the wick, back about 2 weeks ago on the session, we failed up here just north of 290 on trendline resistance. You can see on Friday we spiked up to close to 290, or right at 290 at a point, and we failed that as well. I think that this this level may be able to hold again, but it's proving its merit here now, and I think it's something to kind of watch over the near term to see how this thing continues to trade, see if we can actually break through longer-term trendline resistance here and go any higher. All right, Naspers, if we have a look at Naspers, we'll shorten that up a little bit. And you can just see here, I mean, we know how important the 800 level is. I mean, if you guys have been watching this at all, You know how important this was. We battled to get above it for several sessions. I think we touched it 4 or 5 times precisely at 800 before we actually broke through. Gave us a head fake with this big long red bar, and then the next day we managed to close above it, with the following day totally ripping higher. So we closed at 800. They closed it down about 9 rand in the auction on Friday. Obviously. It's a significant markdown in the auction, but down to a critical level. We also have Tencent, which is traded up again to new highs, new all-time highs in Hong Kong. So I think, obviously we'll get a bit of a bounce off this level this morning. I just want to talk a little bit more about playing this going forward. I think we did reach our target, and that's the key thing that I wanted to focus on here. When we broke out here, we talked about. Sorry, I put the wrong thing here. We talked about this the other day. We reached our target up here from the breakout, which we really pegged the breakout down here. We talk about the targets that were reached on the upside right up there at 830 to 835. We reached that target. So, playing this thing on the long side is still obviously where you want to be longer term, but we may see a bigger correction in this, and that's my whole point. So if we do manage to drop 800 today's session or tomorrow's session, I really think that we're going to probably get down here and we're going to test 750 where our original breakout point was. Maybe at least 760, which is where we you could peg the next little major support level. So I think at least a test to 760 if we get below 800. Just watch that one closely. We do want to be playing that on the long side, I think, but not necessarily in the ultra short term. All right, we'll look at breweries here. I'm going to back this out just a little bit. Oh, sorry, it's giving me the London chart. I want to look at the South African chart. We looked at this chart a dozen times over the past month or so. And what I'm just going to draw is at the closes, the bottom of this red bar here, and you can really see how we came and we've tested a breakout of this yesterday on Friday's session. Broke out above this little this longer term flag pattern, and then we've managed to kind of pull back all the way just to retest this as of Friday's close. So this is an important level, I think, in breweries. If it doesn't hold up today, then you can mark Thursday as a bit of a head fake. But today's crucial. We're talking about a critical spot for SAB. All right, we'll look at Bidvest. You can see here, we've talked about this level several times as well over the past little while. What becomes interesting about this level is that it was broken the other day, kind of popped up above it, pulled back just below it, but wasn't able to break down from there. And then you can really see on this little wedge here that we've broken out to the upside of that, and at the same time we're kind of going above resistance here, or at least right at resistance. So I think the chart for Bidvest is starting to shape up, starting to look a little bit more and more bullish every time we look at it. So just watch this one. If we manage to get up above closing prices at all from Friday, I really think this thing could go. I think we could test the all-time highs sooner rather than later. And then the last one I'm going to show is the LSE. And we'll just have a look at Smith & Nephew, which is really broken out here. You can see from this continuation pattern, really maybe even a little bit of a cup and handle that we've put in here, and I think we could move nicely higher out of this pattern. The targets would be significantly higher for the stock here. I really like the play on this on Friday's breakout, so watch that one closely if you guys are punting overseas. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.